kind of what I alluded to at our, show's kickoff, if you will. I'll mention here. Here it's unfortunate that business is the answer to this question. So I've been thinking as of late, and I don't know if I mentioned this before, why, and it's probably why we've got Saturday's main event before. Why is Saturday night's main event, aka Sunday night's main event on September the 6th? Why isn't that just No Mercy, right? Why isn't that just a PLE, right? Because the next PLE is October, which is Money in the Bank. Why isn't it called Sunday Night Heat? Why do they got to keep the Saturday night's main event name on this event, even though it's on a Sunday night? Why can't they give it a different name? Why, like I said, why can't it be Unforgiven? Why can't it just be a PLE? They want it to be a PLE. And as I look into it, as I use my brain power, I realize exactly why it is. Because it's got to be Saturday night's main event, because that is the brand that is specific to Peacock that they are guaranteed to get. That is part of their deals. And it can't be a PLE like Unforgiven or No Mercy, because PLEs are property of ESPN. So that is why we have Sunday night's main event. We have Sunday night's main event, not Sunday Night Heat, right? And not Unforgiven, or Payback or one of those events, because it has to be Saturday night's main event to satisfy the Peacock deal, regardless of what day it's on. And it can't be a PLE, even though it is a PLE in every sense of the word, because that's what that means. I'm not paying for Saturday night's main event. I'm not paying for Money in the Bank. We realize that none of these events are pay-per-view. They're premium live events. The difference between Raw, SmackDown, and Saturday night's main event is that one is a premium event. AKA, what we're going to talk about in a second is what they're building up to it, right? It's not being treated like Raw. It's being treated like any pay-per-view. But it's got to keep that name because Peacock is guaranteed to have those events. And it can't be a PLE because ESPN is guaranteed to have anything that is listed and labeled as a PLE. So that is why we have Sunday night's main event on Peacock, not to be confused with a PLE. And we have Obafemi and we have Braun Breaker. Is this too soon, or do we see, I guess, multiple matches of this? Do we see like we're kind of giving this away, even though it's Sunday night's main event? Do we feel like we're giving this away too soon?
Yeah, I do. I feel like it's too much too soon. It's like Brock kind of says Oba's the guy, and then right away it's like Braun Breaker says I'm the guy, and then we're not gonna have that much of a build, to be honest with you. It's not that much of a build, especially this caliber of a match. I mean, I feel like these two are gonna be headliners for the next decade, and I feel like they're pushing it too much too soon. So my initial thought is this is going to be a multi-series, a best of three, I think, just like the Brock Lesnar and the Obafemi trilogy that we just finished not that long ago at SummerSlam. I think they're going to have a best of three because whoever loses that first match is going to throw a fit and say, and it could be because some shenanigans happen. Who knows? I don't know. We'll see how it goes. And then that person will win. So it'll be 1-1. And then maybe they set it up. The winner takes all best of three at a later date. That's where I think it goes.
And what happened to the days back when like an Obafemi would go like 2 years without facing a legitimate opponent? Where he would be like Goldberg, right? Goldberg didn't go 50-0 going up against the big guys. Didn't go up against Scott Hall and Kevin Nash. He went 50-0 by squashing people, just like Umaga did, Great Khali did. All these guys kind of
Rusev
build
did it
them
for
up.
a bit too. Rusev did it.
Yeah. So
I think it's a shareholders thing, and that's the interesting part because I'm you were there live. I caught it. I caught it on TV, watching it that night. Paul Heyman was like, "No, we're not going to do this tonight. We have shareholders." Like it, and it's funny because how many times have I mentioned that for years and years on this podcast about their fiduciary responsibility to the shareholders, and then Paul freaking Heyman says the exact same thing that I've been saying for years, and he actually comes out and says it and says, "No, we have responsibilities to our shareholders. We can't do it tonight. We got to set this up a little bit." So I think that's exactly why we're not doing this watch. We're not doing this watch because of that
responsibility. Saturday nights / Sunday nights main event is an obligation being fulfilled. That
Yep.
event is occurring because you're fulfilling an obligation. I'm guessing Money in the Bank was originally scheduled to be that day, and I'm guessing that that was pulled and switched to October, partly because Peacock or an NBC probably spoke up and said, "Hey, when are we getting that Sunday night's main event pay per view, as or that that event that we're scheduled? Because we've got to figure it in the calendar. We might have football seasons coming up. We've got college football maybe on Saturday nights. So we would like to get it sooner than later." And they said, "Oh yeah, you're going to get it in October." And maybe Peacock was saying, "Oh, that doesn't work for us, but." September would work better for us than October. Can you give it to, and we still probably get another one before the year's out as well, right? And so they had to maneuver their schedule around to satisfy contractual obligations to make these events happen. We all know back in the day, Vince McMahon, even before TKO, was somebody who definitely did not want to leave any money on the table. They would be a plane that would be flying after 9/11, and he would say, it isn't really safe, but if we don't make it to this location, I have to give back USA Network like 50 some money because I promised 52 events a year, and he would do it. We all saw during COVID that he put a show on every single week, and everyone at home, he can advertise that whole situation of putting on a show every single week because we wanted just to see smiles on people's faces. He also realized that regardless of COVID occurring, that he would, contracts would be broken regardless of the situation going on. The USA Network wouldn't say, "Oh, it's COVID, we'll still pay you the full money." Specifically, probably praying that Vince McMahon wasn't, because, during COVID, as we all know, money was a little bit tighter at places like NBC Universal and things like that. So they were probably looking for Vince McMahon to take a week off so they didn't have to pay Vince McMahon those weeks and could save a little money on their end, being like, we're having a little hard time keeping our staff here, because of everything that's going on. We would actually prefer maybe you take some time off so we can not pay you as much money and we can save some money for ourselves. And Vince is like, "Don't you worry about it. We're putting our shows on as obligated without any stopping. You'll owe us 100% of the money you owe us." And this man did not leave any money on the table during COVID, as we saw. So these are all contractually obligated things. And that is why Braun Breaker, Obafemi, we're getting that match.